Welcome to Weeds That Feed. This is part one, a pantry for wildlife, where we look at a given plant's contribution to nature. And this week we're looking at ivy, Hedera helix. And to be a little bit more specific, we're looking at Hedera helix sensu lato, which means in the broad sense. So we have two native ivies in Britain, and one is Hedera helix, common ivy, and the other one is Hedera hibernicus, which is Atlantic ivy. Atlantic ivy tends to be more in the west and actually doesn't like to climb quite as much as common ivy. But the reason we have that sensu lato afterwards is because they're very, very difficult to tell apart. So for general purposes, we're going to talk about them both together. I know, ivy isn't that sexy. But it works so hard, I've got to talk about it. Besides, there's nothing much else in flower out at the moment, so you've got to put up with it. It is an amazing foil for other plants. Gives that brilliant backdrop of that sort of dark green. It looks amazing over the front of a grand old building or a cottage even, with that sort of Victorian romanticism. Anyway, we're not really here to talk about what it looks like. We're talking about what it does. And for sure, ivy is an absolute powerhouse when it comes to supporting wildlife in the garden. Ivy is pretty interesting actually, because it's got two life stages. A juvenile stage where it sends out long shoots, which if they find a vertical surface will stick to and grow up by aerial roots. And when we say roots in this sense, we're not talking about roots that go into, like roots that go into the ground, which then draw in nutrients and water and all that sort of stuff. We're talking about roots that just cling on. So ivy, when it's climbing up a tree or other plant, is not actually taking the nutrients from that plant, it's just holding on. And then after 10 years or so, it reaches its adult stage, and in the adult stage it becomes much more like a normal shrub, not having the advantageous roots, so not clinging on anymore. And actually this is when it flowers and fruits, so is in its reproductive stage, actually not dissimilar to the metamorphosis of a butterfly or moth or other insect, where we have the caterpillar stage, which is just feeding and feeding and feeding. We have with no sexual reproductive organs, and then we have the adult stage where it reproduces. Not dissimilar with ivy. The problem probably comes when with ivy, if it finds a crack, for instance, in a building, it will, send shoots into that crack, or the same in a tree. And the growth in its adult stage can be pretty heavy, and quite a lot of it. So if you get a storm, it will possibly topple the tree over. But this is all part of the natural system. Where I am here, actually, just outside my back gate, I can show you it in its various stages. Let's just go for a little walk. So here we have it in its juvenile stage, growing over a little stump, and you can see the very lobed leaves. I didn't mention the leaf shape changes in its adult stage and becomes more oval. This is still the juvenile, growing over some more stumps there, and then we're starting to come over into an adult leaf shape and less lobed. and you can see some fruit on that, some berries on that. That's still ripening. So it will flower with yellowish green flowers late in September to November, and they're amazing for later butterflies like red admiral and actually feeds 100 pollinators, which is made up of 18 bees, 12 bumblebees, but probably other species in the Bombus genus, 5 solitary bees, the honeybee, 9 larger moths, macro moths, 4 species of butterfly, including red admiral and the holly blue, 30 hoverflies, and 39 other species of insect. It also feeds at the larval stage, caterpillars and other plant-eating insects, 106 of those. 3 butterflies, including the holly blue, which is the primary food plant for, along with holly, of course, and red admiral. 60 macro moths, so larger moths, including amazing names like Melville de Jour, the Nonconformist, the Bloxworth Snout. Oh, let me think of some more. We've got the Satellite Moth, the Green-brindled Crescent, oh, the Cetaceous Hebrew Character. I mean, these are just unbelievable names and unbelievable looking moths, a lot of them as well. Then we've got another 43 other phytophagous insects. So ivy, not only is it recorded to feed 206 insects, both pollinators and plant-eating insects, it's the whole structure of the plant that's really useful. So it becomes a dense habitat for overwintering insects like comet and brimstone butterflies, or lacewings and spiders and all sorts of insects that overwinter. Use it as protection from birds, but obviously equally it is somewhere where birds can forage also. And then we've got the berries, which are very fatty, really great source of calories for blackbirds, thrushes, that sort of thing. And then the structure provides a nesting habitat for robins, wrens, all sorts of birds. It really is an amazing, like this one plant is like just a framework for all sorts of ecological systems. In fact, it provides ground cover and edge habitats and shrubby and tree like habitats as well. Not to mention roosting for bats and also detritivores and other insects like that. Hey, I'm going to show you up this behind me is a lovely gnarly bit of ivy growing up a holly. Let's have a little look at that. So there's Stevie. Say hello, Stevie. Good girl. Look in here. This is a holly. But look at that in there. It's absolutely ideal. Full of complexity, full of little niches. things can hide out and nest. Ivy will carry on growing right up through there. So in short, ivy is an absolutely incredible plant and really goes way beyond so many other plants in terms of what it can offer. And yeah, it can be a bit tricky if it's growing through your roof tiles, but just try and let it, wherever possible. It takes a long time to get to the maturation stage of adult stage. When it does, it gives back tenfold. Next, in part 2, grow this instead, we're going to look at some of the plants that we grow instead of ivy, but in actual fact, I think ivy would be the first choice ideally. So, I'll see you for part 2.